Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Lance, it feels like it's been a long time.
Well, it has been a long time.
Yeah, so I'm happy to be back, happy to be chatting with all of you out there on the interwebs, as they call it. And before we kick off this podcast, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Al, what if your boss, if you had one, what if he asked you to put together CAD details for your firm's next project? Where would you go? I bet you know.
I would go to ARTCAT because I don't want to redraft them all by hands, and especially if things are not up to date or not how the manufacturer wants them put together, you could screw it up.
You are a smart man. ARTCAT is the #1 most used website for finding building product information and has over 15,000 CAD details based on real manufacturers' products. Use their powerful search engine to find the right files for your project. Best of all, it's FREEL. You don't even have to register. Just go to artcat.com. That's ARCAT.com and start building better content today.
Lance, if you were going to buy a computer, where would you go?
Dell.com.
You would think so, but you'd be wrong.
Really?
Because you should go to www.dell.com/inside the firm, because right now they're having their President's Sale, 60% off. So if you're going to buy within the next month, this sale runs from, what was it, a couple days ago to 2/19/2020. So that is next Wednesday. So members can save up to 60% off. That's huge. And you're a member through us. So go to dell.com/inside the firm. I'll put it on the website, but it's a great time to do it, especially with that kind of sales discount.
And they'll take good care of you. That's the thing, is you can actually talk to a specialist. You'll tell them what kind of software you're running. Doesn't matter what kind of business it is. Tell them, and they will curtail everything to you. Make it happen.
Yep. Awesome. We have some exciting stuff coming up with Dell. We've been working out the details. So there'll be some interviews, some technical insight, some cool stuff. So just keep listening and we'll keep you informed.
Yes, sir. What else do we got, Al?
So our friend, Mark LePage, our best buddy besides Nick from Nick Reads, has a new class that he wants us to let you guys know about, and we're actually excited to let you know. So it's for startup architects masterminds, and basically there's two big parts of this. There's a mastermind group that's limited to either 10 or 12 people, and then Mark included at least three of his other courses, right? The profit course, the hybrid proposal course, and the planning course, right? And in my head, I go, okay, this is obviously going to be a couple $1,000s. So when Mark let me know about this, I scrolled down, I saw the price. Monthly membership. If you do an annual membership for 1 year, which you should do, it's $59. I'm like, that's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer.
What are you waiting for?
It's under 1 hour of your billable hours. And you get a group that you can ask questions for. And what's cool about this one is it's focused on people who are starting up, right? And that's when you have the most amount of questions. And that's when you just need someone that's in your situation or Mark to say, hey, this is the way we're going. This is what we're doing. This is what we're dealing with, these same problems at the same time.
And don't forget, over 50% of architects are sole practitioners. They aren't lucky like me and Al, where we have me and Al, and we can bounce ideas back and forth. Yeah,
so for that price, it's a no-brainer. To go to it, go to entrearchitect.com/startup. So ENTRE and then architect, ARCHITECT.com/startup.
Beautiful. You did. I'm proud of Al for reading that correctly.
I know. They almost switched on me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you have an idea for me.
I do have an idea. But first I want to, and the idea stems from emails like this. Okay?
Okay.
I got this email yesterday.
Hi, Lance, you're the coolest.
Oh, I wish.
You don't get any emails like that.
Good morning. We are seriously in trouble with the city on these plans. 25 items red flagged. Ah! We're in trouble.
Did they say ah?
No, but it was like I could see that. So that kind of an email to me it only freaks me out from the standpoint of there's no reason to freak out. I don't think there's any reason to freak out. So what I tossed this idea out to you a couple weeks ago about possibly putting together a flow chart for new clients when they come in. So now my idea is, should we have a welcome packet? Should we have a welcome packet? And even if it's just a 1-page front and back, and maybe the front of it is the flow chart. Okay, hey, you just signed a contract with us. Here's the basic timeline. Maybe it doesn't even say numbers. Maybe it just says, here's the flow. Here's the flow of how the project goes. Here's then, once we submit drawings, here's a range of what can happen. Here's what to expect. And then we could even give some examples of, I don't know, crazy responses that we've gotten and just the nonsense, from building departments, right?
Yep.
Because we joke upstairs about, are there blanket comments that we're getting back from people, or rather, do they have the bingo machine, right? The one where you roll. If you've ever been to bingo and you played bingo and you see how they pick the numbers, right? Or like lottery. Is there a lottery where like there's these random balls popping up with the numbers, but instead of the balls, it's comments?
Yep.
And they're just like, we're just going to throw that at the project. We just got to make some comments, so we throw it at the project.
Yep.
Because as soon as I got that email, then I sent one back and I said, no, this is par for the course, even though this jurisdiction has been very good to us in the past, and this is one of the ones where
What jurisdiction? Call them out.
What's that?
What jurisdiction?
Erie.
Oh, Erie's normally
Erie, Colorado is normally.
Did they go to a conference or go visit Denver and said, wait, we got to be.
Well, here's what. No. This is a great question. What happened, right? So we've permitted quite a bit in Erie, and we got so good at the permitting single family homes that we were getting 0 comments back. It was incredible. It was just an instant permit from once they finally reviewed everything. We got some great reviews about it, and then it helped us like be confident and tell our clients, if we're in Erie, it's a piece of cake. Well, what happened? What changed? Right after I got this email and I shot mine back, then I got a call from the contractor, and he kind of had the same sort of thought process, and I go, nope, this is par for the course. This kind of feedback is now par for the course. And he goes, well, I'm not used to it. And he goes, what happened is there's a new plans reviewer.
No.
And that's what it is, right? So it's a new person, and I like, you got to wonder, is it just a new, is this person a new cog in the system and that is full of energy compared to all the other cogs who are tired of it, and they're just like, I'm only going to make 10 comments. And then I'm going to go on a donut break.
Or is this a cog there's 2 options. That's young and just has to like cover their butts. Like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And the true answer of those more veteran people is like, I don't know, we'll figure it out in the field.
Yep.
We'll figure it out in the field.
Yep.
Anyways, we don't need to go down the rabbit hole of what's happening there, just that it's happening. Let's go back to your idea.
Yes.
Right?
What do you think of that idea?
You know the book, What to Expect When You're Expecting?
Yes.
Like, I almost want a cheeky title like that.
Yeah.
Like, What to Expect When You're Architecting or something like that.
I love it. That's perfect.
But you have to set my fears at ease. And here's my fear, right? There's so many different situations. Everything from, hey, what to expect when you're going through Erie residential, which back in the day, a couple months ago, was, man, that's like 3 sentences. We turn it in. They say yes. You build your project.
You get your house building.
To City of Longmont, civil engineers are charging double because it's that crazy. There's going to be 4 million things. You'll even talk to city council. They'll say something and someone else will say something totally different, and you're in for a year and a half, right? So like, how do you not make 1 million of these that you have to update?
I know. That's the challenge. And so this is, when I brought this up to Alex, this is exactly the things that he brought up back to me, and I go, that's a really good point. Boy, that's hard to, there's so many variables. I mean, you just start wading into different typologies, different whatever.
Because I've had people like break down a contract. I've had people that just like sign the contract and we're working the next day, but like, what does this mean? Do we really need this? Like going line by line.
I know.
Be like, man, I can't handle having to edit or to discuss that whole thing for 3 hours in the beginning. Not that happens to everyone.
Yeah.
But anyways, so did you come up with a solution yet? Or are you asking our listeners to come up with a solution?
I'm bringing it up because I think something has to happen. I think there has to be some kind of welcome packet. I want to try. It reminds me of when we got tired of our old proposal and it was so wordy, and then we made it graphic, and we've been on fire since. I mean, it works. It really works.
Right.
People. If I showed somebody an old proposal, they never wanted it. They want this one. And I get that question. Like, I will be done with my little selling. I'll bring a mock proposal and they'll say, is that for me? And I'm like, man, I think that's a good indication of like you've sold them on that process.
Maybe it's just generic. And it's
exactly
what to expect. And it's, the F9 process. And it just goes through, like it's
what to expect. I still like that idea. Yeah.
Yep. In the different design phases, right? And then say what to expect from the city. And then kind of lay it out just generically, like, hey, if it's a small house, it can be 0 comments. Sometimes this happens and there's a bunch. If it's site, what is site plan? I don't know, but like 2 pages, like you limit yourself.
That's what I'm saying.
If this sheet isn't 2 pages,
front and
then
back.
We're
front
not
and
doing
back.
it.
And maybe it's not a flow chart. Maybe it is just kind of some kind of generic thing. I think it would help set up expectations so you don't get these emails anymore, or you don't get these calls, and just people understand that like we're not getting out of this anymore. And the reason why I feel like I'm pushed so far to do this is because we're also drafting out of state right now in a very rural area, insanely rural area.
Well, what state?
Arizona. And we got 5 pages of comments back.
Oh, I thought they would just
on a house.
Let us do it.
On a house on 30 acres.
Is it? Wait, time out. Is it our typical standard package of how we do houses for the past 10 years? Gotcha. And then how many comments?
5 pages
of comments.
5 pages. I mean, absolutely mind-blowing number of comments.
Yeah. Not that we do this, and I don't even know what the comments are, but I wonder if we ever wanted to be mean. Say, please see IRC, whatever year they're in, 2018, for every single one, and then send them that book.
Send them the book, I know.
Just make a point of it. Be like, oh, could it be found in this book that we have to abide by? There's your answer.
And I can't help but think when we get comments like that, or even this email from yesterday about this last project, I can't help but think, okay, do our drawings suck? But then that's this same last week we only got 4 comments back on a house in a historic designation that's had to go through the Board of Adjustments in Denver. 4 comments, and they're so minor. They're literally just clarifications. There's no modifications. It's just, and Ross was blown away, and I was like, see what I mean? It's kind of like a crapshoot. So
it's weird too, because if you would have said a rural county in Arizona or Denver, where would you get more comments?
Right.
I would have bet you money. You would have won some money off of me.
Yep. I would have won your $100 deposit back for your Cybertruck.
Yeah. But if somehow I'll give you that deposit in the form of now you have my Cybertruck space.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we didn't do that. I would have lost.
Yeah. So that is on my to-do list because I think it's something to at least start working on, and I what could it hurt? You've already, especially if the idea would be you land the client, you sign the contract, and then you say, welcome, here's your welcome packet.
Yep.
Here's your welcome packet. We talked about this before too, about like what if you included a scale or something like that? I don't know, just a little, remember like an architecture scale.
Yep.
Like a coffee mug. It'd be interesting to do it. Like, what if you did a little welcome packet?
We still know what's so funny is
sometimes
I get mad when people don't take my advice when I feel like it's good. And not really mad, but just like, you should have done that. Dude, remember when we were thinking, when our clients, we'd give them like a frame picture of the plans when they complete?
Yeah.
Like, we should be mad at ourselves for not taking our own advice.
I know.
Because that's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
Shame on us.
We need a secretary to do that kind of stuff.
Hey,
male or female, I don't care.
I've been thinking the same thing. All this HOA stuff, I need to scan some things in and send it to Penny to do it. But like, I want someone right here so I can just give them that stuff and be like, you deal with that.
I know. I've been thinking about it too. I'm thinking about it too. We need the perfect hybrid secretary.
Meaning,
Can you draft a little bit?
Well,
Just a little bit?
know what one of our contractor buddies, the big multifamily guy, right, from the beginning. Know what his secretary did?
What?
They would cut checks and coordinate payments on the builds. So just think if we're building, they're like, yeah, go in the office. Blank will give you a bit, like
We are
that
We
admin.
are building. I just picked up a building permit today. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you think about that, like, and then track that a little bit more. So that's where that's where we could actually have those fees be, like, okay, they're billable. They're half billable. They're doing this work.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Honestly?
That's what I'm saying. They got to be some point billable. That's what I'm asking for is like, can you do a little bit? Can you do a little bit of
Construction admin on the financial side.
Yeah. And maybe that would offset it and work itself out.
Yeah.
But they also got to be good at social media. I want this all-star person. I don't know. I just got to will it, I guess. We also got to make more money, but we got to figure it out.
There's a couple things. No big deal.
I don't think it would hurt. Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of trying to make more money, there was a really good blog post that was it's older, but it's relevant 100%. It's from 2013, and it's on the Entre Architect website. It's called "How to Become Known as an Architect," and there's 3 points I wanted to just kind of rehash with you about it.
Entrearchitect.com, not on the Facebook group that we always mention. Just to let you know.
Yeah, if you just searched entrearchitect.com, and I'm sure if you just search "How to Become Known as an Architect," you're in great shape, right? So there's 3 big points, and the first one is networking and trying to get face-to-faces with people and get known in your community. And the first thing they bring up is one that you tried, which is Chamber of Commerce. Not too awesome, right? One of the best ones, though, that I think that we've done, which has paid off literally yesterday, was, do you remember how we met John Larkin? Shout out to John Larkin, local contractor, Longmont, Colorado.
High five at a neighborhood walk.
What we did is the Longmont, instead of working with the Longmont Chamber of Commerce, we found a different entity that was better suited for us, and it's the Longmont area development. And so, isn't that what it's called? I think Longmont Area Development Group. Yes, that is literally what it's called. LDDA. Let me see what it is. Long Pond Downtown Development Authority, right? Because our office was downtown. We're still one block off Main Street, so we're still on that corridor. And we did 2 things with these guys. A couple years ago we donated our time and materials, and we built like a little art display for them in the breezeway. So we have a great relationship for them. Yep. But the best thing that we did is they said they hold this. They block off 4 or 5 city blocks, and then they have this downtown event in the summer. We took our tiny house, Atlas, and we were there all weekend. Do you remember that? And we had a ton of people look at it. So I think tabling is a better use of your time, in my opinion, rather than Chamber of Commerce. If you can find events to table in, let's say it's like your local home builder show, right? In your county, or in a city like Denver or something like that, and you table and you show off your work. Even if you're networking, even if there's nobody, there's a lot of people obviously going to be shopping for things to do to their house, to thinking about remodel ideas, but there's also contractors. And I think networking with contractors is critical. And that was relationship, and that's how we signed a new house in Longmont yesterday.
How did we forget that as an idea for some of the people that want to become sales? Find everyone, the Denver, the Boulder.
This is literally why I'm bringing it up. Exactly. Yep.
And say, we'll pay for the fee. 2 of you go, because one person can be manning the booth. 2 people can, but then also go around and talk to the other people there too.
Just talk to them.
And then we'll pay for the setup, whatever kind of pictures you want to get. We got. Look, that's what all those pictures that we haven't put up. Take whatever ones you want.
Yeah, Alex is pointing downstairs.
Yeah,
to the pictures. So to me, that's I think the best way you can do it is if you start tabling in those situations rather than the Chamber of Commerce and stuff. I think it's still worth it to at least try the Chamber of Commerce. Maybe yours is different than ours. I'm bashing it in a sense, but I'm not really. So those are good. And then there's the clubs Alex was talking about, and I call the AA club. I mean, they do a lot of really good stuff and help with your contracts and everything. But I asked in the entrepreneur community, have people gotten work out of it? Some people have. So if you're starting out, from what it sounded like was you could be networking with other clients. Other architects, and let's say it's
overflow work.
We we're a medical architect. We do only medical offices, and we just got a call about a house. Happy to refer you though.
Yep.
We don't do houses. That's what they say.
Okay, that's how they get it. It's not like, hey, we're 20% understaffed per, if you break it down to a unit of a person. So we aren't hiring a full person, but you take some of that 20% and then you get with 5 architects. They each give you 20% of one unit of one person, and you got 100% of work.
You got it. The second big point was how to be more likable. And the little blog post goes on to talk about how architects are largely introverts. I don't know if there's any truth to that statistically, but I tend to believe that they're
50-50 here. You're extrovert, I'm introvert.
That's what Al thinks. I think he's the extrovert. Anyway.
What? No. Only in small doses. You are in high doses, social media, connecting, asking questions. I'm a hermit until I have to, and then I outshine you.
Indeed he does, and that's how we got on Fox 31 Denver for the skyscraper.
Yeah.
So the thing I would bring up to that is I think there's just this classic book that everybody should read, right? How to Win Friends. Isn't that what it's called?
Yes, and Influence People.
And Influence People. It is old, very old, but we've mentioned it before. How to Win... Dale Carnegie. Yeah, that's what it is. How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you go to Amazon, I think it's like $5 these days.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Get it.
So good. Timeless knowledge. Read that book because it just gives you some how-tos about just basic stuff of, hey, Al, nice to meet you. What do you do? Reciprocate the question.
Mirroring. Some of the basic principles. And I wouldn't take it as, hey, you heard Lance and I said those two things. Like, you really need to go into deep, and then to know anything, like, it probably wouldn't hurt us to reread that book, honestly, because we'd be like, oh yeah, we forgot about that.
Exactly.
Obviously, we forgot about
exactly.
that. And when did you just learn one thing, like in school? Did you draw one building and say, now I know how to do buildings? No. So it's worth a revisit, even if you've done it before.
Yeah. Third thing and last thing about this wonderful little article is how to build more trust. And this is another topic that got brought up in the architect community over the week was, when is the right time to ask for reviews? So there's a couple different ways of obtaining trust from people, right? And I actually had one of their Monday morning podcast episodes that's going to come out soon is with Alan Weingarten. He and I were talking about, he's one of our longest spanning clients. He's kind of like a mentor at this point, but he's also a client. He's a developer. And Alex and I were talking with him, and we were like, well, how do you want to do this? You just want to do hourly? He goes, yeah, the best relation. He said something brilliant. It was
it's a book called The Speed of Trust.
Boom.
And essentially it's saying that how you can get so much more done. And I haven't read this book, but I've heard about it, where if you trust the person, everyone to do their job. And what it instantly brought to my mind, and I think because maybe I've heard about this. So you know how long it takes to build a building right now, right? It takes forever.
Years.
Do you know during World War II how fast they made military buildings and installations?
A week.
Probably. You get an architect, you get your engineer, and they're already, once the architect does the foundations, they're already doing it.
Yep.
The engineer is then, sizing and everything, and then the people are doing it. Like, it's literally just stacked on stacked.
Fluid.
Everyone has to do their job, and you just get it done. God, the good old days.
The good old days. The good old days of World War II.
Yeah.
So that book, I wanted to at least try to get that drop in there. And then the other thing is, when is the right time to ask for reviews? We got 4 5-star reviews over the week from 4 different people we've worked with have given us 5-star reviews this week. Thank you for that. Not on the podcast, but for the firm. And then they go through all the platforms I asked them to do that. When is the right time to ask for those reviews? At a high point. Think about when they're most happy. I wouldn't say not during the design process, because what if it goes sour? Who knows what happens at the end? I think a perfect high point is, hey, we've just submitted for your drawings. Hopefully they're not frustrated with you as far as how long it took to do it, and they feel like they've hit a milestone. The other one would be once they obtain their building permit, I think is really good, or maybe their certificate of occupancy, and you've had a good relationship the whole way through. Those kind of high points, and don't be afraid to ask them flat out, hey, following up, or I feel like we served you really well. Leave us a 5-star review, or please leave us a 5-star review at the following links. It would be much appreciated, et cetera, et cetera. Just don't, there's no, the hesitation that I understood from the thread I was reading and engaging with was people thought it was going to be cheesy. Like it felt cheesy to them for ask for it. You just got to get over that fear and just do it. It's not cheesy at all. These reviews, the Google business is the yellow pages and the white pages these days. Your online presence is everything. I like network all you want. I agree, but people solidify their decision based on then once they Google you.
Did you ever have the hesitation to ask clients what their construction budget was?
No.
Way back in the day, I did, because I had the feeling that they thought I would take that number and just like base fees off that percentages or something like that. So I'm glad you didn't have it. I don't have it anymore. I think I've gotten 2 or 3 inquiries this week. And the first things I ask is, what's your timeline? What's your address? And what's your construction budget? Like very straightforward. I need to know these to, get an idea of what you're doing. But that's another one to not be afraid of.
Yeah. Get those reviews, build that trust, do all the things, and then also have best friends. We have a bonus best friend read today. We have 2 reads coming up from Nick Reads. How do you want to do this?
But we should save one because sometimes our best friend likes to drink too much at night. I'm totally kidding about that, but sometimes he doesn't have one. So let's keep one.
Okay, then we're just doing one today. Here we go. It's been a long time. Proudly bring it back. Nick with Nick Reads.
Hello, best friends. I hope you all had a great week this week. A reading. Regret. The things I could have done differently or learned sooner. There's so much knowledge out there, so much information, so many ways to get better. And we make so many mistakes. We are the product of our mistakes. And oftentimes, the lesson is sitting in front of our face, there to be learned. But we miss it, or we don't pay attention to it, or we think we know better, until it punches us in the face. The most important thing to learn is that we have so much to learn. We all do. We can learn from school and people and experience and life. But you have to process the information, absorb it. You have to accept it. You have to open your mind, free your mind, so that you can learn and make real progress. Are there things I regret and things I wish I had done differently? Of course. Hindsight is 20/20. And looking back, who wouldn't want to take another go at something and improve by doing it again? And then why not do it again and again and again? Who wouldn't want to do things over until you have it perfect? But the fact is, you don't get that chance. You get one shot. You get one shot at this gig right here. Life. One life. That's all we've got. And the most important thing to understand about regret is that in and of itself, regret is worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only thing valuable in regret is the lesson you learned, the knowledge you gained. But walking around filled with regret gets you nothing. So learn and move on. Don't let regret beat you down. Don't be a slave to regret. No. Let it teach you. Let it make you better. Let the fear of regret fuel you to take action today. Now. Take action now to become the person not filled with regret, but the person filled with knowledge and strength and power and life. Discipline equals freedom. Jocko. Al, my friend, happy birthday.
Why?
That's why there's two.
Because Lance's birthday is next.
Yep.
Yep. I wanted...
Good. Now, I know I'm looking forward to a belated birthday.
Yes. I wanted to like come back from that and play Eminem's Lose Yourself. You got to lose yourself.
No regrets.
No regrets. Yep. I think that's good too. It's what he said in the beginning was the most interesting. Like, okay, you learn from your mistakes and don't assume like a lot of people will, and I think this happens to me too. Like, you put up your defensive walls and you make it about them, which it might be someone else, but there's always a small nugget that you can take.
100%.
Yeah. So that's what I got.
Yeah. I hear you got a review. Here we got an awesome review.
So this is a little insight for everyone else. So someone said they wanted to leave us a 5-star review, but they have a Google Android phone. So their Android phone won't allow them to leave an iTunes review. So he's just been sitting there for like 6 to 8 months to like 5 years.
Wow.
Just like, I want to help these guys out, but I can't. And it's been killing him until he decided, I'm going to steal my wife's phone because she has an iPhone.
Love it.
And then leave a review that way. So all I wanted to do was get across that go ahead and steal your wife's phone or your husband's phone if they have an iPhone and you have an Android phone, and go ahead and leave a review.
Please do that. Yep. Thank you for that, Rob. Really appreciate that.
Are we prepared for a new segment?
There's a new segment that we're going to introduce here, and I think we should actually pull the guys in real quick and get one of them on the mic to explain what this new segment. Well, I'll explain what the new segment is, and then I think what they should lead into is what this group is called. So the new segment is going to be called Fugly Friday, and we even have a new jingle, and I hope you enjoy it. We'll be back with the guys and the gal to talk about Friday Fuglies.
Yeah, Fugly, Fugly, Friday. Oh yeah, Fugly, Fugly, Friday. Oh yeah, Fugly, Friday. Oh yeah, Fugly, Fugly.
All right, we're back. First segment of Friday Fuglies. What is, and I have Alex Gresh here, tell everybody what is Denver Fugly?
Denver Fugly is it's a Facebook group with about 9,000 people on it, so there's a good amount of people that essentially post buildings they find fugly in Denver, or articles that show bad housing, or kind of just a place for them to almost complain about.
And it's
housing.
largely made up of NIMBYs, right?
NIMBYs, and then a lot of people that aren't in the construction industry or aren't architects, contractors, or developers.
Some people, do you remember some of the terms like banana?
Oh yeah, banana build absolutely nothing anywhere near anything.
Yep.
There's some good ones like that on there too.
How much percentage of it is a great news site or interesting articles about what's going on, and how much of it is people trolling anything that gets built?
Oh, probably 75% trolling and 25% somewhat productive articles.
Okay, awesome. So every week we'll bring you what we think is a cool or interesting topic, and probably some hilarious comments. So what's the first one?
So the first one I have is Denver has this new bill coming up where essentially I think it's the city council can change their decision to have control over affordable housing. So originally it was considered a rent control, which is illegal in Colorado. Now they're going to see a bill to maybe change that back so they can require affordable housing for developers.
Yep. And it's called inclusionary zoning for anybody who doesn't know what that is.
So that got posted on the Denver Fugly feed, and then there's some great comments.
If I had to guess, the people love this idea in that group. They were like, yes, this is what we need.
There are probably more comments for that, and then like just saying, oh God, there's too many people here. Yes. And then they didn't really have a basis for their argument.
So time out. They leap to there's too many people here, so this will limit people?
Exactly. This will stop people from coming here.
Okay.
All of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good start. So a good comment I found is, it says, another attempt by the boomers to screw the millennials. We want the values of our homes to appreciate, and tough luck if you cannot afford to buy a home yourself. Very NIMBY there.
Very NIMBY. Very NIMBY.
Okay. And then another good comment on it was, this is kind of a long one. It says, this problem is blindsided. Colorado had a lot of vacancies, and new builds will not help stop gentrification, which the bill has nothing about gentrification, but oh well. It causes it. 200 has nothing to do with commercial growth, so the argument that job placement commutes will increase is also backwards. The least expensive housing is not new, it's old. New places to work combined with older developments will help income to cost of living index, and we are already seeing proof of it. If you want cheap housing, stop the goddamn developers from demolishing affordable housing units to build luxury housing units with high vacancy levels and tax their profits.
Oh, it's so regressive. It's such a regressive policy because, like, the point that they make about that new housing is more expensive, yes, I agree with you. But you got to understand, my argument with that is, okay, that's not the point of new housing. The point of new housing is to relieve the pressure off of the existing housing that is affordable. So people that are already living in those houses are ready to finally sell and get into their new house because they've built up the equity and been able to do it. I mean, I think it's a valid argument.
You know what this made me aware of? Acutely aware of now that I never even thought about. There is not a mechanism in our government to stop us from doing things that don't work or shoot ourselves in the foot. Meaning, all economics people, almost every one of them agrees that rent control doesn't work because it limits incentives. Like it never works. But it's in places like New York because it's easy to sell to a populace that rents too high, right? But it actually does the opposite of it. It makes it higher. So like, isn't that crazy that we could continue to make laws? And especially since like more data is becoming available, more analytic tools are becoming available so that you could see how all these policy works. And it could be by fact a policy that will do the opposite. And yet, because it's a popular idea, it will pass. I wonder if there will ever be a mechanism where, and I'm almost alluding to like AI, where they say, oh, no, please don't do this because it won't work whatsoever. And people just go, no, we obviously need to do that. Isn't that crazy that we can keep voting in things that don't work just because they're popular?
Don't you think it's indicative of postmodernism? You make your own reality. Because what you're asking for is the general public to agree with facts and data. And right now, facts and data just don't even matter to people because emotion can override everything. And your reality is subjective in the postmodern era. That's where I think like, oh man, that's tough. I'm with you. I think it's a solution, but holy heck.
Wow. I think we'll cover this next week. So Trump's rule that he wants all federal buildings to be classic architecture. I was reading an article and they talked about like, isn't this indicative that we have this crazy architecture that doesn't really have rules and how that's manifesting in society. Anyways, we'll get into like that later, but I see where you're going with that. I just think that it's crazy in this day and age that, we could make a rule that is absolutely wrong and just like, okay, we're going with this. This is okay.
So one thing I've talked with Lance that might be a mechanism is those sunset laws. So it has a limit on how long the law is in place. Because then after that time, you can go back and see if it was good or not instead of trying to change it, which is much more difficult, or nobody would care. I think forces you to actually look at it and see what it's doing.
Absolutely. It's a safety valve. I think all laws should have a sunset on them, for sure.
And within that sunset, it should be, 6 months prior to the sunset, an analysis will be done, and it's already written into the law, and there's already funding for it, so that when it comes up, they'll say, like, factually, hey, you could re-vote for this, but it did not work.
So I don't know if you, so we'll wrap up this segment with, I don't know if you're in Denver, join the Denver Fugly group. I actually can't deal with it because there's so many economic illiterates in there. So Alex Gresh and the other guys and gals at the firm, they filter the nonsense to me. The one group, so if you are in Denver, join. If you're not, the other one I would offer is the Market Urbanism Report. That one is a really good one too, and that one is actually even a better group in the sense that it is more diverse. Scott Beyer, who we've had on the podcast, actually did a poll, and he said, how do you identify politically? It was all across the board. It was actually this beautiful mix of everybody, so everybody kind of gets their opinion. Because at the end of the day, it's like what Alex was saying about rent control. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. We're facing a housing shortage, so everybody should be involved in the solutions for it, for better or for worse. So Okay, what do we got next? A.R.E. Jeopardy?
Question number 1. According to the 2015 IRC, which wood species allows for the longest floor joist spans? Right?
What a good question.
So it relates to which wood species is the strongest for spans. It's the same for roofs and for floors. Is it A, Douglas fir, B, hem fir, C, southern pine, D, spruce? Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo. Contractor calls you and say, "Hey, what should I use? I have Douglas fir or hem or whatever."
Yeah, this with particular one's on sale. I want
Yep.
to save some money.
And then
you're
say,
like, well,
"That's
sir."
the sucky one. Don't do that."
Yep.
All right, what do you have? C, A. The answer is A, Douglas fir. So go ahead and put a check mark if you got that right, and then we'll see who has the most right.
Which
at the end of
everybody
it.
should in this firm should know. Like, you go to Home Depot, it's all Douglas fir. The plywood wall behind you, Douglas fir. This whole
Yep.
building, Douglas fir.
Yep. Number 2, bored holes in wood stud walls need to be at least blank inches from the edge.
Bored. Not like you're bored, but
Like you bore a hole.
boring.
Yep.
Yeah.
A, 1/2 inch. B, 1 inch. C, 1/4 inch. D, 5/8 of an inch.
I know this answer.
You should. So if you're ever out in the field and you see a hole is too close to the edge and you go, "Oh, how far should that be away? I have my tape measure." The answer is going to be D, B, A, B. The answer is D, 5/8 of an inch. 5/8 of an inch. 5/8 of an inch. Over to Land Cayko.
Number 3, what is a mortar joint that has been cleaned out of mortar for about 3/4 of an inch back from the face of the brick called? A, blind joint. B, clean joint. C, raked joint. D, fat joint. Need to repeat? Did we got it all? More or less? Okay, here we go. What do we got? Sam, Al, I can't read that far. C, B, C, and A, and the correct answer is C, raked joint. Who's keeping score?
They are.
They are. Good. Number 4, what is the distance from the edge of a door to the center of the knob or lock cylinder called? A, center of lock. B, center of knockout. C, edge of center distance. Or D, back set. Anybody need to repeat? Question again. Number 4, what is the distance from the edge of a door to the center of the knob or a lock cylinder called? A, center of lock. B, center of knockout. C, edge of center distance. Or D, back set. All right, we'll start with Sam. We got D. Thank you for holding that closer. D, B, or B. Correct answer is D.
Okay.
I made up all the rest of the answers, as usual.
You got 3? 3? Anyone have more than 3? Okay, so there's 2 people
Two
with
threes?
3.
Sweet.
So now we go to sudden death.
Sudden death.
Lance will read the question. The first one to write the correct answer wins. If you write the answer first and you are wrong, the other person gets a chance before you get to try again.
Yep. All right, here we go. Number 5, the tiebreaker. What is the term used to describe impervious water or water vapor, even under pressure, called?
Impervious to water.
Yeah. Sorry. What is the term used to describe impervious to water or water vapor, even under pressure, called? Somebody's writing. I think it's going to be Mark. No. That is not the correct answer. So Mark said water resistant. Still got an opportunity.
Sam gets to say something. Waterproof.
Bam!
Sam wins. So if you enjoyed this episode and you want to learn something, and that something is Revit, go to RevitRocketship.com, where you can get training from Lance and I, where we teach thousands of professionals and thousands of students in a tested system that gives you a template so that you can grow faster and be more awesome. That's why it's called Revit Rocket Ship. Go there, check it out.
Please share this episode or your favorite episode with a friend, a colleague, somebody else that you think could benefit from it.
A dog?
There you go. And don't forget to steal your husband's, boyfriend's, girlfriend's, wife's iPhone if you don't have one, and leave us a 5-star review.